Chapter 21. Damn, why didn't I think of it? Teacher, I heard that you are going to take the promotion test today. How is it? Yeah, what's the situation? Then there's no need to ask. The teacher must have passed. Quote. When Jingyi returned home, he saw several children already guarding the door. The first is the soil. This kid has a straight mind, rushes the fastest, and is often the one with the most blame, but he certainly didn't pick it up. Jing glanced over, and finally focused on the last girl standing. Sunset Red, her father was the host of the first and second episodes. Red, is that what you said? Teacher, I accidentally said something. Kurenai Yuhi pinched her cuffs. Careless, ghost letter. But it's all about the kids. Jingyi smiled but didn't care, opened the door and said, come in. Many children came. Obito, Shisui, Asuma, Kurenai Yuhi, and even Matekai, who has graduated, hang out with them again, and it seems likely that they met by chance. But, I don't know if it was a chance encounter. Jing glanced at a place above and behind him, and said, the guy on the roof won't come down and sit down. Who? Obito looked up curiously. Result. He saw a boy with silver hair and a mask. Okay. Kakashi, HMPH, secretly, must have been angry when he saw the teacher's promotion to Jonin. Obito sneered. Kakashi was speechless, angry. Can't commit. His stomach wasn't that low. Kyoichi is so powerful that it is normal to be promoted to Jonin, but if the promotion fails, he will feel strange. He was just curious. How powerful is Jingyi? In addition, it is pondering what Kyoichi said earlier. Congratulations. Kakashi's mouth popped out. Then, he left. Cut. Who are you? With soil pouting. He knew Kakashi, and he didn't deal with it quite a bit. Okay, Kakashi became a chunin at the age of 6. You all graduated this year. It's the right way to work hard and get promoted as soon as possible. Jingyi waved his hand to stop the meaningless war of words. After all, Kakashi is gone, and it doesn't make sense for Obito to complain behind his back, and the opponent's bird will not bird him. After listening, everyone nodded. Really, Kakashi graduated at the age of 5 and was promoted at the age of 6. At that time, the whole village was shocked. They couldn't compare at all. Just think about yourself. But, the next moment, they looked at Uchiha Shisui in shock. Shisui, you want to graduate too? Could it be? Asuma was surprised. Shisui is a genius of the Uchiha family and has always had a good reputation. When he mixed classes before, Shisui did a lot of homework better than these old students. Everyone knows this, but he was only 5 years old. Graduating this year, isn't it equal to Kakashi? Is it, for the sake of fame, Uchiha forced Shisui to graduate? Asuma was very thoughtful and quickly thought of this possibility. Okay, Shisui nodded lightly. The atmosphere was silent for a while, and Hong Yuhi thought for a moment, and then asked, then are you going to the guards, or are you teaming up with everyone? Generally, after graduation, students will form groups to do tasks. But clans are different, such as the Sunshong family. Their children do not go to school at all, only those who are abandoned will go to school to study. Uchiha is similar but different. The ninja school still goes on, but after graduation, most of them go to their own guards, and they rarely team up with others to do missions. Kyungsu also looked at him. He knew Shisui's thoughts, but he really didn't know whether Uchiha Fuyu would agree. I hope I can go to the teacher's door. I don't know if the village will agree. Shisui scratched his head and said, after everyone heard it, they were stunned for a moment, and then they thought that Jingyi had become a Jonin. The village might indeed agree. The teacher hasn't taken the exam yet, so you went to apply to the patriarch. Good guy. Obito slowed down and understood how Shisui did it. Apply in advance. Now the letter of intent about Shisui may have been displayed on the table of 3 generations. Sharp, hateful. Why didn't you think of it yourself? Others have the same idea. Teacher, I also want to. Junin is very powerful. No matter who you go with, you can learn a lot. You don't have to worry too much. Kyungsu was relieved. Except for Lin, they are all family members, so what are you afraid of? Especially Asuma, the son of the 3rd generation. Are you afraid that you can't find a good Shengen? But, in the original book, there seems to be no mention of Asuma's teacher, and Asuma's promotion to Chunin is relatively slow, so maybe the teacher he finds after graduation is really quite ordinary. Asuma rolled her eyes and said, Teacher, I just thought of an urgent matter. I'll see you next time. Go. Everyone can guess the reason why Asuma left. Nothing more than for the teacher's place. For the remaining few people, it would be a lie to say that they are not interested, but firstly they have no way, and secondly, Jingyi has only one spot left. Who grabs first? How disrespectful. Better to be random. Thinking of this, everyone felt relieved. After being promoted to Jonin, the appointment of Jingyi's temporary teacher has come to an end. No one would put the Jonin at the ninja school to get moldy. Besides, the current ninja school has been redivided into grades, and the teachers have returned one after another. There is no need for him to end up alone, so he basically has no classes in the follow-up. Certainly, even if you go to teach, you won't be able to pick up any wool. The students of the ninja school have already learned what they should learn. If you can't learn it, teach a few more lessons, which is a little proficiency reward. It's better to put more effort on Mad Dai and his son, Jishui and Asuma. The 4 of them had plenty of wool to pluck from them. In particular, Asuma, after all, will protect the 12 warriors and the elite Jonin. If you squeeze it, there must be a lot of oil and water. Teacher, can we ask you questions in the future? Lin was a little sad. I always feel like I'm still studying, but in the blink of an eye I'm about to face a class assignment. Of course, you can come to me if you have any questions. Naruto building. After Sarutobi Hizen sent the certificate of Shengen to the 4, he returned to the office to continue working, but after a while, an Anbu ninja handed over a letter. What's this? Sent from the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Fuyuke. The 3rd generation frowned slightly, took the letter from Anbu ninja, opened it and looked at it carefully. Soon, his brows stretched slightly, he put down the paper, and his mind was full of thoughts. Shisui wants to worship Kakashi as a teacher. It is not impossible. After all, Kakashi is a descendant of Shinsho, and using Tsunade as a link, he can definitely tie the child to the Hokage family, and there is no need to worry too much. If Shisui worships Jingyi as a teacher, he may not be able to pull in his own faction and disintegrate Uchiha from the inside. In this way, Uchiha, maybe there is another possibility. Konoha's attitude towards Uchiha has been tangled since the 2nd generation. But, Shinsho Togurama has a complete division plan, but on the 3rd generation side, he wants to do it, but he has enough energy to do it, and he can't find a breakthrough for division at all, so he can only keep suppressing it. Stop water, bring soil. Here's your chance. Thinking of this, he no longer hesitated, directly signed the pen, and agreed to Fuyu's request. But, the next moment, the door was knocked. The 3rd generation sensed the identity of the person outside the door, and the brows that had just stretched were locked again. Asuma, this kid is a little rebellious. What is he doing this time? Thinking of Asuma gave him a headache. However, it cannot always be seen. Come in, father. After Asuma entered the door, he rarely used the family name here. His face was a little awkward and hesitant. After a while, he asked, can you let me join teacher Jingyi's team? Okay. 3 generations looked up at him. It's Kanda Kyoichi again. Shisui wanted to join his team, and his son also asked to join him. How long did this kid teach? It's less than a month to be full. So popular. Why do you want to join his team? Because the teacher is very good, strong, and has ideas. I think I can learn a lot from him. Asuma said and bowed deeply. From childhood to adulthood, he hardly asked for 3 generations. Seeing this scene, the 3 generations were silent for a long time, and then nodded and said, Jingyi is suitable for water stopping, but it may not be suitable for you, but if it is your own choice, I respect your opinion. Thank you, my father. Chapter 22 Kakashi, Duplicity. For the next few days, Jingyi was exercising every day. Shangnan, just the title. If you want to survive in troubled times, the most important thing is strength, not these empty positions. Kyungsu knows this very well. Certainly, he has exchanged and studied with Mad Dai and Makai, and he has smashed a lot of wool, but most of them are related to physical skills, such as Konoha Gangly Whirlwind, Lilianhua. But these are not what Jingyi needs the most, they can only be added to the head. Gotta open source. Light throttling is not enough, which year and month have to be practiced. Relying on the rabbit to bump into it by itself, it will have to wait until what year is the horse month. Jing pondered while running, gotta find a way to be proactive. After thinking about it for a long time, he felt that he had to start from the problem children. For example, Hatake Kakashi. Coincidentally, it happened this time. Quote. Kakashi sat by the river and threw the white fang knife out. Seeing Jing passing by, he squinted at him for a few seconds, then quickly got up, ran over, put away the dagger, and held it in his hand before continuing to look at the river. Next moment, a gust of wind blew, and Kanda Keiichi appeared behind him. The instant body technique is very fast. However, Kakashi had already seen it, and what puzzled him was that Kanda Jing came over in an instant for what? Kakashi turned to stare at him, silent. What are you looking at? Quote. Kakashi was stunned and didn't understand what Jingyi meant at all. I see that you are very confused, so I want to beat you up. Keiichi's tone was serious, but, the next second, he sat next to Kakashi and said, still thinking about swordsmanship. According to me, I need a knife, you need to throw a knife, and we each take what we need. I will not give up, Kakashi said decisively. I don't think you did that just now. Isn't the posture of throwing it very handsome? Talking, Jingyi pulled out the white-toothed short knife in his hand with a swoosh. The short knife fluttered in his hand, and the next moment, chakra merged into the knife, and the blue water light condensed into a blade. Follow closely. The water light became more and more condensed, and finally turned into a dark blue. A knife. Shoo. The sound of breaking the air sounded, the water flashed, and the ground cracked a deep ditch. Good knife. Kyungsu couldn't help but admire. As expected of a white-toothed dagger, this knife is most suitable for Lei-Dun chakra, but Shui-Dun chakra can barely be used. With the high-pressure skills that Jingyi learned from Shui Duanbo, the power of a knife is very impressive. Quote. Kakashi was speechless. Is this knife mine? Why do you feel like this is more fun than yourself? Give it back to you. Jingyi threw the knife back. Kakashi got the dagger and rushed to Kyoichi to kill. High speed, but, in an instant, the person in front of him turned into a piece of wood. Substitute. Although Kakashi didn't use his full strength, he even temporarily withdrew his strength and attacked with the back of the knife. In fact, he would not be injured if he really hit Kyoichi. At such a close distance, he can even dodge the avatar technique. It's fast, but the shot is too obvious. Kyungsu smiled. The current Kakashi is not weak, but it is indeed a little immature in all aspects, and the gap between Kakashi who has experienced a lot of things later and entered the Endo experience is too great. HMPH, I won't give up the knife, sooner or later, I will defeat you. Kakashi closed the knife and left. He has an idea. As Jingyi said, since you don't give up the knife, then find a way to improve it. I now belong to everything familiar, everything is not refined. It's time to choose a direction. Since he didn't want to talk more, Jingyi didn't bother to talk about it anymore today, he just passed by and made fun of the problem children. It turns out, problem children are really hard to deal with. Shisui and Asuma can penetrate at one point, this kid is very stubborn, and he is still. Open black lens bracket complete the development direction, teaching, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket evaluation, excellent, close black lens bracket, open black lens bracket reward, IHE/ close black lens bracket. Okay, award, misunderstanding cleared, Jingyi couldn't help but feel happy. This kid is really stubborn, he has already received his own education, and he has to play with duplicity. Fortunately, there is a system. Seeing the reward, Jingyi was even happier. Home cut, Mifune's proud swordsmanship. In fact, it is essentially a knife drawing technique. This is the best reward I've gotten recently. The key is, Mifune has his own beliefs and does not practice ninjutsu or chakra. In his hands, Iizan is just a sword drawing technique, but Jingyi is not so particular about it. Chakra or something, can be used for sure. System rewards, no need to practice at all. It's a pity that there are no good swords. When will the 7 ninja swords invade Konoha? By the way, the Thunder God sword should still be with the 3rd generation. I wonder if I can borrow it and use it. Jingyi pondered for a moment, and felt that he really had a door. Leave it alone, might as well use it for yourself. No more, just use the 7-day call method. After thinking about it, Jingyi got up and went directly to the Hokage building of the 3rd generation. When he arrived, Sarutobi Hizen was looking at the early graduation materials sent by the ninja school. Shisui, Asuma, who else is better? Nohara Rin. It doesn't seem right. Nohara Rin has a solid theoretical knowledge and strong chakra control ability. She is a good seedling of medical ninjutsu, not suitable for Shisui and Asuma. He tossed and looked for a long time, and then he sensed that someone was coming from outside. The Lord is here. Lord Hokage, King Yi, sit down. I was just going to chat with you, but you came unexpectedly. Would you like to lead the team after being promoted to Jonin? 3 generations are smiling. After Jingyi saw the ceremony, he sat down and replied, of course I would. You brought those students before. Shisui and Asuma really want to join your team. Both of them have good grades. If you have no opinion, then decide. Which one do you think is better for the 3rd? 3 generations will pick out candidates. Mainly 2 people. Nohara Rin, Yuhi Red. Lin is more suitable for training as a medical ninja. Although I am proficient in medical ninjutsu, my strength is not strong, and she may not be able to cooperate so well with Shisui and Asuma. Kyoichi replied without thinking. In addition, the idiot Obito has been attached to Lin since he went to school. Obito's kindness is not unrelated to Lin's fascination, and the 3 generations definitely don't want to separate them. I think the same way, and I think so too. The 3rd generation nodded lightly, and without any hesitation, wrote Yuhika's name on it. After writing, he asked again, you shouldn't be here for the team, right? Yes, Hokage-sama, I have been practicing swordsmanship, and I feel that I have touched some doors recently, but I have no chakra weapons in hand. I heard that the second generation adults have left a personal weapon. Jingyi said that he was a little embarrassed at the end. Clearly come for the benefit. Too shameless. There is such a weapon. The teacher has used it, but that sword is not suitable for you, right? The three generations understood the meaning of Jingyi in seconds. It's okay, I just borrowed it temporarily, and I will return it to the village when I encounter a suitable one. For this, I can exchange it with the secret technique I developed. Chapter 23 Thunder Sword. Secret Art. With a move in Sandai's heart, he thought of the 8-door Dunjia that Jingyi had used in the exam before. And, he remembered that Jingyi mentioned before that this was the technique of Might Dai. Who was Maddie? Three generations fell into contemplation. After thinking for a few seconds, he finally came to his senses. He raised his head and asked, did you create Bam and Dunjia together with Mad Dai? No, that was created by Senior Dai who spent 20 years of ascetic cultivation. It has nothing to do with me. My technique is called 7-day calling, which I came up with when I taught myself medical knowledge. As Jingyi said, he explained the principle of the 7-day call in the first activity. Physical activation. You actually developed this level of physical art. The three generations were surprised when they heard it. Inhaling oxygen to activate the body is indeed a good angle, but the third generation quickly understood that this operation is also very demanding on the body. If the physical fitness is insufficient, inhaling too much oxygen may be poisoned. He thought for a while, took a deep breath and said, this technique of yours is an S-level forbidden technique, and you must not use it unless it is absolutely necessary. I understand now. Senior Dai and I are currently thinking about how to transform it, lower its threshold and function, and see if it can be popularized as a Class A forbidden technique. By the way, Jingyi said what he and Mad Dai thought. The S-level forbidden arts belong to the forbidden arts, while the A-level forbidden arts can be learned by ninjas above the elite shunin. If it can be adapted, it is a great achievement. Good deeds must be named, and, are you sure you can apply for research funding? It's a good idea, but it's going to be a lot of trouble in practice. The third generation said with a headache, don't worry, my lord, I will change the breathing method. Even if outsiders get ordinary living body techniques, they will not be able to realize the 7-day breathing method. After Jingyi finished speaking, he thought about it and added, if we can study it, at least in the next war, our ninjas can be less damaged. You're right, we can't give up food because of choking. Well, the first activity will not be included, and it will be submitted when you and I develop an A-level version. The third generation took out a scroll from the bottom. After the seal is unsealed, a sword appeared on the desk. Thunder Sword. Actually, this sword is a weapon that the teacher hired someone to build in the early years. Although it is powerful, the material is very fragile. You have to use it carefully, and you don't need it. I just hope you can treat it kindly. Three generations handed over the sword. Jingyi did not expect that the third generation did not borrow it but gave it directly. Not only that, Sarutobi hisn't thought for a while, and then said, you can go and see more of the library in the Hokage building. Although there is no ninjutsu, the knowledge in it is definitely better than what you have collected. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Jingyi was surprised. He originally planned to grab one or two from the Seven Swords congregation in the future, but now the third generation directly gave him the Thunder God sword, which was a complete surprise. Certainly, the 7 swordsmen are still going to grab it. Who hates too many knives? Not only the weapons of the 7 knives, but also the grass pheasant sword. He was also very excited, but he didn't know where the grass pheasant family was, otherwise he would have tried to find a way to make the grass pheasant sword, and he would have come to find the third generation. The exam tomorrow and the class the day after tomorrow, remember to go. Sarutobi Hijin laughed. After Jingyi left, he thought about it for a long time, and finally began to rummage through the files, but he couldn't find it for a long time. Last resort, he called Anbu Ninja, help me find Maddie's information. My lord, Matei is a shinobi, you can't find it in the Chunin files. What, is Matei a jerk? Sarutobi Hijin was at a loss for a while. He does not doubt the authenticity of Jingyi's words. The 8 aspects of the human body are extremely dangerous, and the study of this technique requires not only a theoretical basis but also constant exercise. This process is very long, and it will not be completed within 10 years. How old is Jingyi? Therefore, Baman Dunjia could never be his first creation, it should be indeed created by this Mad Dai. But, a ninja who can create such an S-rank forbidden technique is just an ordinary ninja. At this moment, the 3 generations felt that their work was not in place. There is such a talent in the village, but he didn't realize it at all. He didn't react until others reminded him repeatedly. Yes, he figured it out. Jingyi was deliberately recommending Mate Day, so he repeatedly mentioned it. He asked Anbu ninjas to help find the information about Mad Dai, and after reading it several times, he suddenly understood why he didn't remember this character. Unlike Kosuke, Daishijun tolerated himself in the moment, and has been doing D-level tasks. Except for participating in wars, he has never even done C-level tasks. Can he create 8 Dunjia? I'm dereliction of duty, dereliction of duty. 3 generations sighed. Konoha has been in a shortage of middle and upper ninjas in the years of war, and as a result, such a talented person was buried in the lower ninja by himself. Jingyi took the Thunder Sword and left the Hokage building. Twice. If the third generation hasn't reacted to this, it's really an old man's brain, and he should step down early. The current Mad Day is slightly different from the original. Although he is still only specializing in the 8-dun armor, he also learned 1 or 2 moves in the matching taijutsu created by Kai, and he also mastered all the Konoha whirlwind series of taijutsu. There is absolutely no problem with the current Mad wearing a ninja. This is still not able to practice the supernormal physical skills of the peacock, the day tiger, etc. If you practice it, you can rank at the top of the elite jonin. So, such a strong ninja, eat ashes. 3 generations is too stupid. Certainly, this is not the first stupid thing he has done. When Hatake Tsukumo committed suicide before, he never came out to stop public opinion and let things happen to that point. If it is intentional, it is insidious. If it is unintentional, it is incompetent. No matter which result, it proves that the third generation is not a good bird. Even myself, becoming a Junin is easy, but if you want to fight for the position of Hokage, I am afraid that there will be various twists and turns and disputes in the middle. Hyunsu sneered in his heart. Forget about it for now. Hokage or something, is very far away from me, and currently surviving the next wave of war in the Night of the Nine Tails is the key. The next day, after Jingyi finished his training, he went to the ninja school. Exam today. There is basically no problem in participating in the early graduation, it is just a cutscene, but Jingyi has to come. It seems that the 3 generations have directly appointed him as the chief ninjutsu examiner. But apart from him, the lineup to accompany the exam is also gorgeous. Takuno and Yuhi are really red. It can be seen that the 3 generations have high expectations for this session. Soon, the students entered the door. First. Bring soil. I won't be late this time. Really. A full 2 minutes after the start, the door was knocked. Teacher, when Obito entered the door and saw him, he immediately trembled. Did not expect. The examiner turned out to be a teacher. The key is, I'm so damn late again. Old rules, the fusion of transformation and avatar skills will be tested, and the avatar skills will be tested later. Yes, take a deep breath, don't embarrass the teacher. He quickly formed the seal, and after a chakra fluctuation, 2 avatars appeared beside him. At the same time, the avatars in the main body changed into the appearance of Jingyi and the other 2 accompanying examiners respectively. The other 2 are different in height and width, and mine, didn't you notice that I have an extra ninja tool today? Chapter 24 Advances lead to backwardness. What? With a sullen face, he knew that what he did was not perfect. Especially swords. Why does the teacher have an extra sword? There is only a hilt exposed, who can notice this? Mr. Jingyi, will it be too strict? Tsukasa Yuhi said in a low voice. Obito's performance may be slightly inferior to Chunin, but compared to Genin, it is already very good. No, Konoha may face war again at any time. It is inevitable that the requirements are high. Obito, if this is a battlefield, I need you to transform into a technique to deceive the enemy. Your level has been exposed. Kyōichi was not polite. Obito nodded again and again without refuting a word. He was thinking. The next moment, suddenly heard a strange sound. Obito immediately formed a seal. Dong dong dong. A few pieces of chalk hit the wood transformed by the avatar technique. You got a piece of chalk. If it's a battlefield, you're already injured. Okay, go on. Don't tell other students about the situation here, or you will fail. Yes, Obito was worried about gains and losses, but he didn't dare to ask Jingyi if he had been through it himself. It's late after all. When he left, Takuno turned his head and stared at Jingyi for a long time before asking, Mr. Jingyi, I also think. Are your standards too high? No, they usually have this ability. If they fail, it will be a problem of their psyche. Students with poor psychological quality will be hindered when they go to the battlefield. Quote. Do you have this ability? Good guy, all the elite to endure. Even so, this test is not the standard of graduation test at all. Takuno held back and did not complain. If it was Jingyi's standard back then, he wouldn't be able to graduate at all. Too difficult, especially the first pass. The combination of the transformation technique and the clone technique is not only a test of the technique itself, but also a test of intelligence collection and observation and analysis. Obviously, Obito is not very qualified. But that level also exceeds the vast majority. Maybe this is the family son. Takuno thought to himself. Next, it's the same. After entering the door, I saw Jingyi, and I was shocked for a second or two. If it's other teachers, they think they can pass the graduation while lying down, but Kakachi's words. Not necessarily. Old rules. Start. Yes. The next moment, he quickly mobilized chakra, using clone and transformation. Takuno was surprised to find out. The same thing is really done. It is almost no problem to use the combination of transformation and avatar. The problem is that Jingyi still picks out the problem from the inside. Still that sword. You show the hilt of your sword, so who can notice it? In addition, the avatars that are similar to each other are perfect. Even civilians have this level. Takuno was shocked beyond words. Then, a few more civilian students came. Without exception, as Jingyi said, everything is better than Obito. Looking at it this way, Obito is really at the bottom. Yuhi said, I can't say that. Obito is just relatively straight, and he is not good at these details. He is good at large-scale ninjutsu and shuriken manipulation, which is suitable for frontal combat. Kyōichi took a sip. The 3-generation squad is exquisite. The Namikaze Minato team, Obito and Rin head-on containment, and Kakashi harvesting and assassinating, all perfectly fit their respective abilities and styles. Certainly, this is the elite squad. The general team is not so particular, but there is no situation where the entire team is full of physique masters. Situations like that of the Metekai team are rare. The art of fireball. After Yuhi Jinhong heard it, he immediately understood the hidden meaning of Jinjuki. Large area of ninjutsu, low level, only how fireball left. Jing nodded. Yuhi Jinhong and Takuno fell silent. It seems that Obito is only at the bottom of the surface. In terms of strength, many candidates are still unable to compare. Certainly, it's also true that the kid's foundation is poor. Serious bias. Halfway through the exam, they became more and more frightened. The quality is so high this time. Both the commoners and the children of the family are far superior to the previous years, and even in the performance of the 3-body technique, many commoners are better than the children of some families. You're welcome to say, except for the lack of experience, these children are almost the same as the next one. The reason, of course, it's not how good their talent is. Except for individual geniuses in each session, the rest as a whole will not be too different. Changes naturally come from the teachers. Kakashi, in just 1 month of teaching, these children have improved from ordinary students to a level that is close to tolerance. Sharp, Yuhi Mako himself is the one who instructs the Genin and Chunin, and he knows how difficult it is. To put it bluntly, most of the Junin can't do it. How did you do it? Yuhi Mahong didn't understand. After taking the exams one by one, he finally couldn't help but ask, Mr. Jingyi, can I ask you how you teach, and why are the students generally so high level? This is a mixed class. Several grades are mixed together, and there are more people than usual classes. This can be taught. It's against the sky. It's simple and simple. Just teach the part, and then use the method of teaching them new ninjutsu. Let this part drive other people, and the advanced drive the backward. Kyōichi smiled. This is a special teaching method. Yuhi Junhong heard it, and was a little disappointed. This kind of method can teach the children of the ninja school, but there is no way to popularize it in the guidance and teaching of Genin and Chunin. After all, Chunin is no better than others, and not to mention the phenomenon of self-esteem of the broom, they have basically formed a system, and it is easy to have deviations in teaching each other. But, if the ninja class can be popularized, that's good too. Can it be popularized in ninja schools? I'm afraid it won't work if you let the teacher of the ninja school teach, but if you really want to do it, you can let the teacher of Shengen teach you a month before graduation, which is equivalent to the training of the ninja in advance. Kyōichi said without hesitation, let the teachers of this school not have that effect, why don't you invite Joinin? Military training, how easy it is. There are too many successful cases in the past life, just find one to apply. Can it still be like this? Yuhi was stunned for a while. Please come to the ninja school and take charge of the training camp for a month. This, a road never thought of, but, after careful consideration, he found that the feasibility is really high. The teachers in the school are all Chunin. Although they are enough to teach, but their prestige is not enough to make the children listen to their opinions, the Chunin is different. The key is, the case of Jingyi is here. He taught for a month, almost as much as many others taught for years. Yuhi Junhong thought about it and said, Mr. Jingyi, I want to write a case about your situation and submit it to the 3rd generation of adults. I asked him to decide. I wonder if you are willing. Sure, I didn't write it anyway, and, this matter has become a great credit to himself, and maybe he will be rewarded, why not do it? Even, Jingyi is thinking about it, and will actively apply for a wave of wool in the future. Chapter 25 When the words are finished, who approves and who opposes? Oh, ninja training camp, the ninja school exam. Although the third generation took time to use the telescope technique to look at it, but did not take a close look, naturally did not know the conversation between Yuhi Junhong and Jingyi. The next day, he saw the letter that Yuhi Mako brought up. It was full of articles. It displayed the subtlety of the three-body technique of the Kyoichi class, and even wrote the conversation between him and Kanda in great detail. Sarutobi Hizen looked very carefully. After looking at it for a long time, he took out his cigarette stick, couldn't help but light it and started smoking. Ninja school training. Elite Jonin is busy, but compared to so many outstanding students, 1 month of Elite Jonin is not worth mentioning at all, and taking the time to teach for the last month is totally fine. If implemented, the advantages will definitely outweigh the disadvantages. But, he didn't expect it. Sir, do you pass on me? Lu Ju, today I was taught a lesson by the juniors, look at this. 3 generations smiled and picked up the letter and handed it over. It was Shikahi Sonara who entered the door. Since the Second Ninja World War, Lu Ju has gradually served as the staff of the 3 generations, and the 3 generations have to discuss with him on many things, and this time is no exception. Lu Ju took it and looked at it carefully. At first, he didn't care much. But, seeing what Yuhi Mako said, his face gradually became serious. Very skilled 3-body technique. Perhaps the 3-body technique is not as powerful as other ninjutsu, but on the battlefield, it can enable the genists to cooperate and save their lives, and it is definitely the foundation that every genin must master. Jingyi has been teaching for a month, and all of his students are extremely solid in the 3-body technique. The effect is too strong. Not only that, one can see all the leopards at a glance. Their 3-body technique is so skilled and fast, and it can be seen that the chakra control ability is also very strong. Generally speaking, the quality of the students taught by Beijing in 1 month is several times that of the previous ones. These people graduate, can quickly adapt to ninja work, and quickly integrate into the lower ninja group. Such a big improvement in just 1 month. Of course to implement. And, not only does Jingyi know how to teach himself, but he also summed up how to teach and how to induce, so as to create a virtuous circle within the students, that is, advanced leads to backwardness, in Kanda Jingyi's words. This is very rare. It can be said that all the things mentioned by Jingyi are measures that can be popularized. Thinking of this, Naru Shikahisa couldn't help but take a deep breath and said, Kakashi is indeed a genius, it's a pity to let him just be a joinin. Well, I let him lead the team. The 3rd generation nodded lightly. Originally, a young newcomer like Jingyi should not be the leader of the team, but Jingyi's educational talent is so good that it is a waste for him to be a Shangin. Lu Ju nodded, turned the paper over and over to read it several times, and then said decisively, Sir, the ninja school training skills should be implemented in Kyōichi. But before, I thought that I should find a few Shangrin and let Jingyi Shangrin explain in detail. Experience. Oh why, the 3 generations were surprised, they didn't expect Lu Ju to say such a thing. Just training, Kakashi has already explained it very clearly, do you still need to teach him face to face? Not so much, Lord Hokage, although it's clearly written above, Jinchiki Shangin only mentioned these because he is only a ninjutsu teacher. Maybe there are other constructive opinions. Lu Ju clearly thought more thoroughly. The fact that Jingyi mentioned these things doesn't mean that he only understands these things. The 3 generations were silent for a long time, and finally nodded and said, it makes sense. Let's pick a few from the team leading the team and discuss it together in the village. Yes, ... Strange, I teach Yuhi to be so popular, why doesn't the system have a reward? Downtime, quote, Hyunsu returns home. Until the evening, there was no reward. He was at a loss. This is inconsistent with my previous experience. Take care, there should be a reward in the afternoon. He felt strange. The next day, Kyoichi understood why this happened. Sandai asked Anbu Ninja to bring a message and asked him to attend the Shangin level meeting on ninja school training and education. Ghost, no wonder. As soon as I made a call, I asked the 3 generations to convene the staff on the same day, ready to further discuss and implement the matter. So, the system determines that the class is not over yet. Good things come and go. The longer the class, the higher the reward. And, this time, the students are not children or genin, but a group of ninjas like the 3 generations of Hokage, and the quality is absolutely superb. He immediately went to the Hokage building. In the temporary conference room, when Jingyi entered, he saw several familiar faces. Naru Shikahisa, Yamanaka Kyoichi, Oil Girl Jue and so on. The most conspicuous, of course, is Namikaze Minato. Bright blonde hair, I have seen you seniors. Kyoichi is joinin. Under Hokage, Shangin is the highest level in theory, and the others are just different positions, so Jingyi does not need to meet with his subordinates. But, he is indeed the youngest one here, 15 years old. But all the Junin had to listen to his words, and this meeting could not start until Kanda Jing arrived. Naru Shikahisa pointed to a location. Hyunsu sat down. Kyoichi Shangin is here, sit down, you must know the reason for calling everyone here this time, right? Naru Shikahisa glanced around. Yuhi Mahong's statement letter has been circulated before, and everyone has read it. The ninja school training is indeed a good proposal. The Shangin training for a month, even if it can't be like Jingyi Shangin every time, it can greatly reduce the time required for follow-up training. Yamanaka Kai opened his mouth to support. The Yamanaka clan and the Nara clan advanced and retreated together. This time, Naru Shikahisa was obviously on the side of the 3 generations and expressed his support, so he did not hesitate. Oil Girl Jue thought for a while and said, according to Jinchiki Shangin's idea, are you planning to relax the teaching of ninjutsu to the entire D-level ninjutsu level during the training camp? Yes, the exact amount of teaching depends on the student's progress. Ninjutsu is just a bait for them to move on their own. In addition to taijutsu, shuriken manipulation, basic illusion skills, basic medical knowledge, etc., I think they can all be joined the training range. Hyunsu explained it again. The advanced drives the backward. There are advantages. Only those who are gifted and born in the family are willing to share their knowledge with others. This is very demanding on Shangnin. Because there are ninja professors in the family's children, they have to show a higher level than the family ninja if they want to be tempted by those children. Second is, the ultimate goal of the training camp is to give graduates the highest possibility of surviving on the battlefield, so the basic content required on the battlefield must be added to the scope of the training camp. Everyone is Shangnin, no need to explain in depth. After listening to it for a long time, Narushika nodded lightly and looked at everyone. I support the training camp. Namikaze Minato stood up. As he said that, he gently nodded at Kanda Jingyi kindly. Then, I agree too. Naru Shikaku raised his hand. After a while, all the Junin raised their hands and passed. Chapter 26 The blood does not make a loss, everyone wins. Kyoichi joinin. After leaving the Hokage building, Jingyi was about to take time to look at the system panel. He heard the beep after the meeting just now, but he didn't have time to look. Result, before he had time, he heard someone calling him from behind. This sound, Wave Water Gate. When Jingyi turned around, he saw a blonde Namikaze Minato walking towards him. Senior Minato, do you have any advice? The current Watergate is not the 4th generation. However, after the Battle of Kikyoyama, he initially gained some prestige in Konoha, which is completely different from the newly promoted Jonin like Jingyi. I would like to ask you why the basics of medical treatment should also be used as the training content. Medical ninjutsu is extensive and profound, but I am afraid I don't know much about join. Namikaze Minato was a little puzzled. Konoha's medical system is the most complete in the whole ninja world. Even so, it is impossible for every team to be equipped with a medical ninja because the medical ninja requirements are too high. The medical ninjas in the special 4-person team not only have to save people, but also prevent themselves from being attacked and killed by the opponent. Therefore, he wondered why in just 1 month, he had to add medical knowledge training. So short, it doesn't work at all, but he also felt that Jingyi should think about it. Senior Minato, of course I don't mean to make them medical ninjas, but to understand some basic medical knowledge, such as bandaging, drugs to stop bleeding, etc. Kyungsu explained. He found out before, Konoha's medical ninja system is very powerful and can be called the first in the ninja world, but there are also some problems in the war, too much reliance on medical ninjas. Can't cure without medical ninja. Emergency treatment can sometimes save a ninja's life. Indeed, many people don't know about it. Namikaze Minato pondered carefully. Among Konoha's ninjas, only some experienced ninjas can do this. It is a pity that such valuable battlefield experience has not been promoted. Should be promoted. His doubts disappeared, but he admired Jingyi more and more, and said convincingly, Jingyi is really a genius. I heard that you are very educated and strong. I didn't expect you to have research on medical treatment. A little bit. Kyoichi is not humble. His medical knowledge is a bonus of the system, except for the knowledge of palm celestial arts, it is some basic content. This is just a little understanding. Kyoichi Junin, do you have any advice for the 4-person team? To tell you the truth, Lord Hokage asked me to lead the team this time, but I have no experience at all. Namikaze Minato scratched his head. That was the crux of what he wanted to ask. Jingyi, like him, is a very young Shangman, but the other party is very knowledgeable about education. Watergate feels more in common with young people. Our village's 4-person team system is very mature. I am a newcomer to Shangman, and I have to meet 3 new subordinates tomorrow. If it is divided according to the combat style, I think there should be one who can attack the tough front, and one who is good at cutting in. Assassination, and an assistant. Front, cut, assist. Namikaze Minato fell into deep thought. Very apt. Every 4-person team in Konoha is divided according to this rule, but no one has specially summed up such a term before. Indeed, even the pig, deer and butterfly combination actually fits this situation. Only, the cut-in position of the pig and deer butterfly is rather special. Minato pondered and understood, and admired Jingyi more and more in his heart. He was obviously a young man, but he knew better than they had thought in all these years. It is a blessing for Konoha to have such a genius. Afterwards, Minato and Kyoichi exchanged ideas about ninjutsu again. Especially in the blink of an eye, both are instant masters. But, understanding each other is obviously different. Nikaze Minato's instant body technique is more about speed, while Jingyi has gradually integrated a style similar to Shisui, fast and odd. Different styles, different techniques. After the exchange, both of them were satisfied. The only problem is, Namikaze Minato felt that he still made a lot of money. He asked Jingyi for so many things. He originally wanted to use the telekinesis technique to guide Jingyi in order to repay his kindness. Unexpectedly, Kanda Jingyi is also a master of instant, and his understanding of instant art is not under his own. This is embarrassing. Keiichi didn't worry about this. The wool comes out of the sheep, and you can earn some rewards just by pointing at Namikaze Minato. As it turns out, he guessed right. When he got home, after reading the reward, Jingyi laughed so hard that his mouth was splitting. The proficiency of the instant body technique has been improved to the top, and I have also gained the knowledge and understanding of Fengdun chakra. No loss. Of course, this part is all small heads. The key is yet another reward. Open black lens bracket complete the graduation training lecture. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket evaluation. Excellent. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket award. 1. Wind escape spiral pill shuriken. 2. Konoha flow willow. 3. The seal of the 4 elephants. The host can choose 2 out of 3. Close black lens bracket. Again, 2 out of 3. Jingyi wanted to have them all, but unfortunately, he had to give up one of them. This is still rated as excellent. Otherwise, it will be more confusing. Actually, don't think about it. Of these 3, the first one was decisively eliminated. After all, I didn't have a fairy mode, so choosing the thing was not very practical. Not to mention, he understands how helix kills practice, and he also understands how helix kills shuriken. With the fairy mode, it's a big deal to practice by yourself. Looking at the other 2, Konoha Lulu, S-rank fantasy swordsmanship, the only one in the world. The seal of the 4 elephants is not so effective. But, compared with the useless spiral Maru shuriken, this thing at least has the knowledge of sealing art as a bonus. Open black lens bracket received successfully. Close black lens bracket. Get it. Jingyi felt it carefully, and in a moment he mastered these 2 S-level techniques. After all, it is a system gift. He can quickly grasp it without much comprehension, but some of the seal knowledge brought by the 4 elephant seal makes his head a little tingling now. The quantity is too large. It's just a seal of 4 elephants, and it involves so many spells. It's hard to imagine how much time and energy it takes to learn by yourself. The effect is also obvious. After having the seal, if you encounter Renzuli, you don't have to be too afraid. Next is swordsmanship. Kanda Keiichi's swordsmanship mainly comes from the ancestral swordsmanship notes left by his grandmother, which are mainly swordsmanship and theoretical things. Konoha Ryu is an example of the transformation from theory to practice. Direct use is also very strong, but the essence of Konoha Ryu and Lu is the combination of illusion and swordsmanship. How to turn it into a simpler movement so that it can be integrated into other moves. For example, II slash. Even if you can only make the other party blink, it is enough to cooperate with II slash, but to transform to this level requires a certain accumulation of illusion knowledge. My current knowledge accumulation is far from enough. To sum up, the research significance of Konoha Lulu is much higher than the practical value, but even the current practicability is very high, especially the group battle. The effect is definitely not weak. Jingyi had a rough idea in his mind. This wave of improvement is not bad. It has supplemented the vacancy in his swordsmanship, and there is no need to worry about leading the team to fight. Chapter 27. It hasn't started yet. It's over. The next day, in the ninja school. The graduates gathered together and sat together for the last time. I didn't expect you to graduate even with tutu. Shiranui Xuanjian held 1,000 copies in his mouth, and when he saw Obito and Zishui finally arrive, he couldn't help but complain. Obito blushed immediately. Hey, what do you mean by the toothpick? I'm a genius. Ha ha, Shisui passed by him. Genius. Just because Obito rushed over yesterday, was 2 minutes late and saw Jingyi's chief exam, the 3-body skill was probably due to the teacher's passing. Simply shameful. He didn't speak, but with these 2 laughs, his attitude was obvious. HMPH, wait for me. Forget it, I'm too lazy to tell you. Obito wanted to habitually say, writing wheel eyes, but when he thought of Jishui's talent, he probably wouldn't have opened his eyes when Jishui opened his eyes, and he suddenly lost his confidence. Besides, even if he wakes up with Sharingan, he may not be able to turn himself into a genius. With Jing Yi's teaching and Zishui's exchange and guidance, Obito finally understood the truth. Blacksmith need its own hardware. Without enough foundation, even if he has a shaker, he is no match for others. Certainly, this is common sense. Uchiha sometimes uses plugins, and it is impossible to judge with common sense, but Jinchuki's reasoning is such a reason. Looks like you're all very energetic, teacher. Familiar voice. All the children's eyes lit up. Master Kyōichi, why is he here? Many children don't know the situation, thinking that Kanda Kyo will step down as a temporary teacher after the war, and they don't know about the subsequent promotion to Sharingan as the leader of the team. You are all good people. Although Obito is embarrassing, it's okay anyway. But you kid, you dare to be late for the exam. You must change when you become a ninja, or you will be irresponsible to your teammates. Everyone, it's the same. Anyway, I don't want to see you on the heroic spirit monument. Kyōichi became serious as soon as he spoke. Although I only took it for a month, I am still my own student. The atmosphere in the class became heavy. Several were quite moved, such as the same footsteps in Aoba in the mountain city. You're welcome to say, the ninjutsu skills that Jing Yi taught them are all things that only Sharingan talents can do, and the things that really save lives on the battlefield, even if they are divided into classes, they may not be able to learn. Now Jing Yi's words can be said to be heart-wrenching. Okay, the first shift, Uchiha Shisui, Sarutobi Asuma, Yuhi Hong, come with me. Quote question mark quote. Lin, Obito and the others naturally know that Jing Yi took the Sharingan exam some time ago, but most people don't know it. First class, he was stunned for a long time. It wasn't until Shisui, Asuma, and Hong Yuhi stood up and walked towards Kyoichi that they came to their senses. Good guy, I thought the teacher was here to give us the last lesson. I didn't expect that the teacher was promoted to Sharingan. Damn, I was pretended to be by the teacher. Quote. There was an uproar in the class. Jing Yi's strength is very strong, and the students know this in their hearts, but before it was only Chunin, but I didn't expect it to become the leader of the team at such a short time. And, according to the students who led the team, many people knew in their hearts that the village had a very high evaluation of Kanda Jing Yi, otherwise they would not really give him such good seedlings as Zishui and Asuma. This is the elite squad. Is it, teacher or elite Jonin level? They make their own guesses. Everyone, see you later. Jing Yi waved to everyone, then left the classroom. Shisui, Asuma, and Hong Yuhi followed behind, and after walking for a while, Hong Yu was the first to laugh out loud. Hey, Asuma was in a hurry. Laughing teacher, don't want to mix up. It doesn't matter, you can laugh if you want, anyway, you are not my disciples yet. Kyōichi looked at the three with a smile. The three of them were sluggish for a moment, and looked up in a daze, staring at Kakashi. Return, doesn't it count? Don't worry too much, there will be a small test. I have inquired about it. According to the tradition, there will be all kinds of strange tests. The third generation of adults accepted the disciples to grab the bell. Jing Yi paused when he said this, and glanced at the three of them. They all looked serious. Grab the bell, heard, it's a bit tricky indeed. If the bell is not ready, don't rob it. As long as you can hurt me, how about you pass the customs? He smiled, his face was gentle, and some people and animals were harmless. Shisui glanced at Asuma and Yuhi Hong, and after a moment of hesitation, his eyes quickly firmed up. It's hard to put up with an injury, but it couldn't be harder than snatching the bell from the Jonin. At least there was still a glimmer of hope. Let's go, the forest of death gathers. After Jing Yi finished speaking, the figure disappeared. Instant, Shishui's eyes widened. Asuma and Hiroshi Yuhi ran for a distance, and when they saw that Zishui hadn't left, they suddenly stopped in doubt. Zishui, what are you doing? Teacher's instant body technique is stronger. No, it may be that he has never used it with all his strength before. Shishui took a deep breath. Is there any? Asuma scratched her head. Stronger. Why didn't he feel it? Let's go. Shisui didn't say much. His instant body technique should be at the top level among the graduates this time, but compared to Jing Yi, it is simply nothing compared to that, especially this time. No fluctuations. People disappeared almost instantly, like teleportation. However, Kyoichi didn't go at full speed, but secretly observed the state of Asuma, Yuhika and Shisui. Shisui was always at the end, and Asuma was rushing ahead. Outskirts of the forest of death. The first class gathers here. Jing Yi sat there, the old god was there, and the three fell in front of him, panting slightly. Physically, the three are average. Jing Yi knew something, glanced at the three of them, and said, Ji Shui, you have been observing and keeping the queue at the end. This is the habit of your guards. It is very good. Even if you fail the test, I will keep you. What? Asuma froze for a moment. Hurry up. He just ran away with his head sullen. Who cares so much? So it was you, teacher, just now. Hong Yuhi breathed a sigh of relief and said, I haven't been able to find any trace, so I thought who it was. Hong, your perception is very good. When you came, you also had a central support position. Very good. I will allow you to pass the test. Kyōichi smiled. It was not surprising that Hong Yuhi could find herself. Ninjas who were good at illusion often had good perception, and the 8th class she led in the original book was the reconnaissance class. I don't have the ability to perceive, so I'd like to bring a reconnaissance class. Hong Yuhi smiled, then noticed Asuma's expression, and quickly restrained the smile. At this moment, Asuma was numb. He glanced at Shisui and Hong who were communicating, and then looked at Kakashi. Nimas, we agreed to take the test together, but you two answered the question ahead of time. To be honest, he has a sense of sight that he has finished before the exam. Shisui, Hong, you have already passed the test. Do you still need to take the test? Especially you, Hong Yuhi. If the test fails, I will try my best to keep the water, but I won't necessarily keep you. Chapter 28. What is this called, a water formation wall? Sir, it seems that you don't need to worry about Jing Yi, but more about my daughter and Asuma. Yuhi really red complexion. Kyōichi is really great. Before starting the test, various psychological test questions have been arranged, which is even more than the 3-generation bell training. Pass the border, have a fart. If Zishui and Hong choose not to take the exam, the three of them will go back to school. Haha, don't worry about Junhong. You have to have confidence in your child. Look at me. Asuma is already like this. Am I still very calm? Sandai was smoking a cigarette happily, and in front of him was a crystal ball with a scene of Jing Yi and Zishui on it. Dirty indeed. This kind of psychological question tests their cognition and understanding of their companions. If they can't even pass this level, they naturally don't need to think about being a ninja. Certainly, different people have different ideas, but Jing Yi's psychology should be like this. Yes, I'm confused if I care. Yuri nodded red. He should trust his daughter. He thinks her daughter can know how to choose, but the one from the Uchiha family. He is not very optimistic. Uchiha and the rest of Konoha are too far apart. But, the next moment, he knew that he was thinking too much. Test, of course. Thank you. Asuma bowed deeply. Although he didn't know what was going on, he knew one thing. According to the teacher's words, Zishui and Hong took the exam because of him. It's all tested, right? Jing was serious for a moment, with a murderous look in his eyes, oppressing the three of them. The expressions of the three of them changed, but not one flinched. Very good, the hourglass is limited. If it doesn't hurt me, I will go back to school except Shisui. Kyoichi took out the hourglass with a smile, then an upside down, swoosh. In an instant, the three of them left in a blink of an eye. At least no fools. Jing Yi stretched his waist and walked slowly towards the woods. If the three of them faced each other directly, then he would really consider kicking them all back to the ninja school for rebuilding. Time is urgent. Let's use Shisui as the captain for the time being. How about the password and tactics? Hong Yuhi knew that she was not this material, but Asuma is clearly not currently either. Just let the water stop. Shisui was also stunned. He was only 5 years old, so he was directly the temporary captain. A little bit of pressure, but he took a deep breath, and a thought came to his mind quickly. Just like the guards, the secret code is gesture communication. I'll say a few simple gestures. As for tactics, you two will keep the two of you in check. I will fight and assassinate. Don't be afraid of hurting the teacher. Afraid? I'm afraid I won't be able to hurt him. Asuma smiled wryly. He just asked himself not to hold back, otherwise, it would be really shameful to be kicked back to the ninja school. That's the decision. Let's create traps first, try illusion techniques to create opportunities later, and then see how the situation cuts in. Once we have to fight, we can no longer consider withdrawing. Shisui and Yuhika are both masters of illusion. Illusion must not be abandoned. As for retreating and pulling, they don't think they can be stronger than Kakashi, and they want to defeat Jinchuriki in that regard, which is a fool's dream. Tactics were developed, and they quickly switched positions. Not bad, well organized. Kyungsu smiled softly. Of the three, Hong Yuhi was in charge of perception and exploration, while the other two discussed tactics. After walking this distance, he did not find the whereabouts of the three. Certainly, this is because Jing Yi does not want to hang up. If he really wants to find it, a chakra perception can find the location of the three. This is an exam, not a real murder. Cats and mice have to play slowly. He walked everywhere in the forest, but in fact, the direction he walked was exactly where Uchiha, Shisui and the others evacuated. Asuma clenched his kunai tightly, his palms sweating. Although Jing Yi didn't make a move, or even approached, but compressing their living space step by step, the sense of oppression was too strong. Do it. Kurenai Yuhi made a move, but it was quickly stopped by the water stop. Not timing. It's a surefire shot now. Must wait for a better time. Shisui thought hard in his heart, but after a while, Jing approached step by step, and the first place to bear the brunt was the location of Yuri Hong. If you don't make a move, when Jing Yi gets closer, it is very likely that he will directly find an attack. Get out. Magic tree bound kill. Yuhi read immediately seals. Illusion activated. Jing Yi was stunned on the spot, as if he had been hit by a technique. Shisui quickly came to Asuma's side, and the two formed seals at the same time. The next moment, a huge fireball spewed out, directly covering the entire location of Jing Yi. The big breakthrough of the wind escape and the fireball, the power is doubled. But, up there, Yuri Hong reported as soon as possible. The illusion is solved. She immediately sensed the opponent's position, but Jing Yi's position shocked her. Substitute. So fast. Asuma was stunned. Could this speed really hurt him? However, no time to think now. Disperse. Stop the water and withdraw quickly. At this moment, a shadow flashed by. Although Asuma tried his best to resist, Jing Yi's enormous strength still kicked him out. When he was in the air, he tried his best to use the substitute technique. Too fast, Shisui had to turn around to contain him. He threw a smoke bomb. The next moment, the three, Asuma, in the smoke withdrew to one direction. Ninjutsu chapter. Water escape water formation wall. Jing Yi did not pursue, but directly tied the seal. The next moment, a huge wall of water rose from all around, directly dividing Yuhi Hiro, who had not yet had time to escape. Yuhi, who was watching in the dark, was really red and speechless. This water escape is too outrageous. Waterfront. This range can encircle the Hokage building, the speed is slower, and there is no way to escape. Outrageous. Yuri was in a hurry. She had already retreated at full speed, but unexpectedly she was still divided. As an auxiliary ninja, you should always pay attention to your position and your own safety during the battle, because my first target is probably you. Swoosh. 1 foot. Red Yuhi avoids with a substitute technique. However, the next moment, she found that she had a kunai on her neck. You're out. Kyoichi handed Kuru to her. Yuhika looked annoyed. She knew she was so slow that she left a gap. The curtain of water fell. Asuma and Shisui had already turned back, and immediately retreated when they saw this scene. However, sword art, IHE slash. The last moment, he was still in the same place, and the moment the knife came out, he was in front of Asuma. There's no time to hide. Before the water stopped to help, Asuma had already been slashed over his shoulder by the back of the knife. You were the only one left. Then, the illusion chapter. What? Zhangguang. Shisui was startled and quickly looked away, but was dizzy. Recruited. How come? He quickly solved the illusion, but when he regained consciousness, there was a sword on his neck. The difference is too big. Then, I'm still unscathed. Obviously, you failed to complete the task. You have to return to the school, Yuhika and Asuma, or Shisui, if you give up your place, I can consider giving the three of you another test. Chance. Kyungsu looked at them with a smile. The atmosphere is deadly. The difference is too big. Is this the strength of the ninja? Chapter 29. Good things should be promoted. Kanda Kyoichi, this guy is really bad. Yuri really red couldn't help sighing. This guy means one set after another. Can have to say, good job. The three eyes narrowed slightly. Anyone who faces this situation will hesitate and struggle, and the final choice can show the person's personality. Everyone comes from the weak, but ninjas who are too self-seeking, no one wants to be with them, especially this person is Uchiha. Shisui, what would you choose? If Shisui does not give up the quota, then he can only regretfully exclude Shisui and include Shisui in the ranks of suppression. Jing Yi has not communicated with him about the examination process, but it perfectly meets the needs of the third generation. He became more and more satisfied with Jing Yi. At this time, the water stop is really tangled. Before, Jing Yi gave him the promise of covering it, and now he has given him a multiple choice question. The problem is, as far as reality is concerned, no matter how you look at it, this is an exam that cannot be completed. However, if you give up Asuma and Hong Yuhi, are they still a team? Ji Shui took a deep breath and said, Teacher, I choose to take the test again. Stop the water. Asuma and Hong are a little unbelievable. The two of them were 4 years apart from Shisui. They had basically had no contact with Shisui before, and they didn't know Shisui well enough. So, they didn't expect that Shisui would give up the quota. Also shocked were Sarutobi Hizen and Yuhi Mahong. They guessed the purpose of Jing Yi's title. It can be said. All the preparations for the entire exam are all for this question. The test is not only for Asuma and Hong, but also for Shisui. It is a test of human nature and psychology. A more terrifying subject than a bell, however. Shisui answered well, whether he saw through the purpose of the title or really thought so, it was enough to prove that Shisui was worthy of creation. Have you made up your mind? Kyungsu's face was serious. Yes, I am the temporary captain, the mission has not been completed, and my tactical arrangements and considerations are very problematic. I believe that Asuma and Hong, as long as we do it again, we will definitely be able to do it. After Shisui expressed his stance, his mood suddenly relaxed. Isn't it just another test? Don't you just go back to school? What a big deal. So, what's your opinion? Kyoichi looked at Asuma and Yukiko with a smile. Teacher, there is no problem with the tactics of stopping the water. It is because I am incompetent that I cannot execute it. I will go back to school voluntarily. Me too. Asuma and Kurenai Yuhi didn't hesitate. The two of them may not be as talented as Shisui, but they are both family members and have self-esteem. The best performance this time is to stop the water. The tactical arrangement, thinking and execution are all the best for Shisui, and they can't make Shisui take responsibility. And, fighting again, it is obviously impossible to be Jingyi's opponent. This is Shang Nin, so, have you lost your confidence? No, I believe that I will be able to practice for another year, but now, I do have a big gap in my ability. Asuma was a little frustrated. Before, he felt that he might not be the best, but he wouldn't fall behind and couldn't keep up with his teammates, but after the exam, he found that he really couldn't keep up. It's not good to be dragged behind, not to be frontal. Let Ji Shui give up the quota again, and he will be ashamed. Very good, it's a good thing to know that you're useless, at least you can recognize yourself, but your overall tactics are correct. Yuhi red assists, Asuma resists head-on, and Shisui cuts into the involvement. The problem is, I'm too strong, so, I declare that you passed. Quote. Jingyi clapped his hands, and then returned the sword to its sheath. The three were stunned. Past this, Shisui thought for a moment, and quickly thought of some of the words Jingyi had taught before, and thoughtfully said, the key to this test, teacher, is actually the question just now, right? Yes, a team must be strong and weak, some people shine and some sacrifice, but the combination of three people must have the effect of 1 + 1 = 3, the most typical is the combination of pigs, deer and butterflies. Kyoichi said, teaching should not be slack, there are rewards. Thank you teacher, I understand. The three bowed in unison. Looking at this appearance, it is quite the prototype of the team. Go, to celebrate the establishment of the first class, I will take you to eat ramen. ... Fantasy swordsmanship, 3 generations of eyes narrowed slightly, very similar moves. But, although this trick was created by Kosuke, the theory is actually the theory of Senju Tobirama. After thinking for a while, he didn't have much doubts, and his thoughts turned back to the exam itself. How? The 3 generations looked at Yuhi, which was really red. He has also been old for many years, and is especially responsible for the guidance of the middle and lower ninjas, and his educational experience is higher than that of other upper ninjas. Yuhi Junhong pondered for a moment, and said, hi, this kid's routine is more complicated than our previous bell competition, and he accidentally said it. If this process is promoted, I am afraid that few children will be able to pass the test. 3 generations sigh, good is good, but the standard is too high. According to this standard, 80% of the children will not be able to graduate to become genin, so it is not popular at all. But, this set is a comprehensive test of the child's ability. He thought about it again and said, we can promote it in the elite squad, try it in the Watergate class. You can ask Watergate to come over and talk. Yuhi Mako agreed. Since it is an elite team, the requirements must naturally be raised. Not only Rin, Obito, but also Kakashi, the Chunin who has been in the class for many years. It's not too much to use Jingyi's request, soon. The shadow clone of Namikaze Minato has arrived. He himself wants to meet with Obito, Rin and Kakashi. Lord Hokage, Watergate, the Beijing Class 1 has just finished the test. We observed the whole process and felt that there are some good experiences that we can learn from. Sandai said with a light cough. In a sense, their behavior belongs to peeking and learning. But, shouldn't be a problem, right? The big deal is compensation after the fact. Sandai shared the experience he felt was desirable. Minato Namikaze was puzzled at first, but he could hear his eyes gradually brightening from behind. Wonderful, it is worthy of being Jingyi, and the routine is linked one by one. In this way, you don't have to wait for tomorrow morning, you can start the test directly in the afternoon. The only problem is, my lord, this kind of experience is very good, but there is a troublesome child in my team. What if if Kakashi really doesn't understand, what should I do alone? After getting excited, Minato slowly calmed down. Quote. Kakashi is trouble. Sandai and Yuhi Mako were both lost in thought. After pondering for a while, Sandai said, Kakashi shouldn't be like this. If it doesn't work, he will take off his Chunin title, and if it doesn't work, all 3 will be kicked back to school. So cruel. Namikaze Minato took a breath, then nodded slowly and said, understood. Minato didn't know much about Kakashi, only that the kid had a bad reputation in the Chunin group, and no one wanted to do missions with him. So, if the assessment fails, return a Chunin to the ninja school. The fun is great, but, looking at the meaning of the 3 generations, it is obvious that he does not intend to give in. If Kakashi really doesn't understand what a team is, then there is no need to show mercy. With these words, Minato has a bottom line, but he wants to invite another person to supervise and watch the game. Chapter 30 Kakashi, the perfect negative textbook. Teacher, your treats are always ramen. When will you invite us to a barbecue? Asuma couldn't help but complain. Eel is delicious, but I can't stand it. Jing glanced at him and said, barbecue please. No problem, I'll treat you, you pay. What? Asuma was surprised. Is this a treat? How can it be so? I've only been promoted to shinobi, and in the past 2 months, it's either a hospital or a class. How much salary can I get? Please have a barbecue and drink the northwest wind in the next half month. Kyungsu said angrily, although there are systems, poverty is unavoidable. He had thought about starting a business, but he was so busy recently that he didn't have time to do those things. He wanted to cheat some scientific research funds, but he only got a bookstore license. Difficult. On the topic of livelihood and money, the 3 children could not feel the same way, especially Shisui. He was only 5 years old when he was a child in Uchiha, and he did not understand what life pressure was. In fact, he was thinking about the state of the previous battle. Ninjutsu, taijutsu, swordsmanship, illusion, almost almighty. What attracted him the most was the way the teacher restrained him. Unprinted illusion, to be precise, Mayan illusionary swordsmanship. How did you do that? Teacher, I have another question, how much strength did you use this time? Asuma was curious, Kyungsu is too powerful, almost one move to solve one, there's no room for resistance. How much power is this? Jingyi himself couldn't tell, he thought about it carefully, and after measuring for a long time, he said, 30%. It may not be enough, because any move, after being combined and used flexibly, will be more effective than a rigid move drill. Teacher is Shangnan, if we still have to do our best to deal with us, wouldn't it be over? Kurenai Yuhi took it for granted. Jonin is the strongest fighting force in the village except for shadows. Although Kanda Jingyi has just been promoted, his strength is here, and it is simple and easy to beat the three of them. Jingyi did not brag. He didn't fully use his physical skills and instant body skills, and he didn't use the 7-day call method, the 8-door Dunjia, and the Earth Spear, and the characteristics of the Thunder God Sword were not actively activated. If it is used, the three of them can't stop it for a second with their current strength. At this moment, Ji Shui said, "Teacher, your last technique, is it an illusion sword technique? The second generation of adults' theoretical swordsmanship is not yet complete. The effect I want to achieve is to draw the sword and instantly make you fall into an illusion, and cooperate with II/ to kill you. If it can really merge, it's really scary." Home cut. Asuma was impressed. He died under this sword. If it can be integrated into the illusion will be created the moment the sword is drawn. Even if it is just a moment of shock, it will be enough to kill people, because the speed of Jingyi is too fast. At that time, when he saw the sword being drawn, before he could react, Jingyi was already in front of him. And this is definitely not the fastest speed of Jingyi. The teacher did not use all his strength. If he did his best, this sword would definitely be more terrifying. Ninjutsu is dead. Only by combining and using it can you get out of your own style. Your wave of ambush cooperated very well. If it was Chunin, it might have been killed by you. Jingyi didn't strike at all. The strength of the three of them is still very strong. Illusion control, big breakthroughs and heroic fireballs. Under the combination of ninjutsu, the elite Chunin may not be able to stop them. While approving them, Jingyi took a look at the system panel. Open black lens bracket complete the teamwork lecture. Closed black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket evaluation. Excellent. Closed black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket reward. Wind escape vacuum blade. Closed black lens bracket. Wind escape. Hyunsu was a little surprised. This is his only wind escape ninjutsu currently. It's not that there are no ninjutsu scrolls, but he has too many things to do at the moment. Practicing swordsmanship in avatars, training and teaching students as the deity, and if he wants to practice wind escape ninjutsu, he must at least have another avatar. But, in that case, the quality and duration are insufficient, and it is very tiring, and the main body may not be able to cope with unexpected events. It is also good to send a wind escape ninjutsu, omitting the research process of the change of nature, not to mention that this is AB level ninjutsu. Ramen come, Jing said while eating. My ninjutsu, taijutsu, and swordsmanship are all pretty good. Medical ninjutsu and illusion are pretty average. Red, water stopping, and illusions are all up to you. Fire escape can't. In other respects, the three of you can choose. A major. Major. After listening to the three, they were slightly surprised, but they quickly understood the meaning. Not difficult to understand. Major, that is, the main direction of attack. Don't rush to answer. Go back and think slowly. Let's eat first. Quote. The three silently picked up the chopsticks, with things in their hearts. How could there be any appetite at all? Hyunsu narrowed his eyes with a smile. After all, they are children. Involving major events, difficult choices are inevitable. At this time, he frowned slightly. Shadow clone disbanded. Soon, Kyoichi knew the situation. Namikaze Minato invites himself to supervise the assessment. Isn't the 7th class tradition to grab the bell such a simple thing? Why let yourself supervise it? Teacher, what's wrong? The evening red heart is as delicate as hair. As soon as Jing was distracted, he quickly noticed it. The 7th class invited me to supervise the observation and assessment. Do you want to go together? He didn't expect it at first, but Yuhika asked, and Jinchiki thought of this. Since you invited me, it's not too much to bring 3 students, right? Taking Kakashi and the others as negative teaching materials is simply not too good. Ji Shui's eyes lit up and asked, who is in the 7th class? Joining me Feng Minato, the rest are Obito, Rin and Kakashi. Jingyi said after eating the noodles. The 3 children lost their interest in eating noodles in an instant, and said excitedly, going to go. Okay, eat quickly, and go have a look after eating. Forest of Death. The others in the 7th class had already arrived ahead of schedule, and Minato Namikaze was not here yet, but Kakashi and the others could be seen on the hillside in another place. I'll go over in a moment. First said I want to save Kakashi. Yes, you said that Kakashi is a Chunin and will never go back to school. Lin has the talent of a medical ninja. You can also let her pass the test ambiguous. Okay, is there anything else? After that, we will use 2 places to make a fuss, divide their teams, and then take a few exam questions after finishing them. Namikaze Minato nodded again and again, his face full of admiration and approval. The 3 children present had black lines on their faces. Especially Asuma and Red. Shisui had reacted before, but the 2 of them only guessed slightly. Listening to it from beginning to end, I realized that it was all a routine. Certainly, they didn't doubt that if they didn't do it, they might really be driven back to the ninja school. Jingyi is usually gentle, but when he is strict, he doesn't joke with you. Then I'll go first and leave a shadow clone here. If you have any suggestions, you can contact me. After Minato finished speaking, Yuyin left behind a clone. Hong Yuhi hesitated for a moment, but still said, Teacher, Kakashi's situation is special, and it's a bit too much to really drive him back to school. Red, being a ninja is responsible for this profession. Yes.